I am so fed up with all of these bad faith interpretations of what free speech means. And I say bad faith because these people are just purposely misinterpreting it. They understand what free speech means. If you don't know what happened, basically Destiny made some off-colored jokes about all of the kids that died in the recent Texas floods, and it was just to be a contrarian and make conservatives mad. Of course, why else would he do it? I don't think he actually thinks it's a good thing kids died. Anyway, a lot of the people in my comment section thought that I, for some reason, was against free speech, and that's because they have a very misinformed understanding of what free speech is. So my whole point of the video is basically, yes, Destiny is allowed to say this, but it's very cringe and it just makes him and the rest of the people on his team look bad, even if the people on the right were saying these things about the tragedies in California and the deportations and a bunch of other stuff, right? The comments on this video took this as, you don't think Destiny should be able to say that? Isn't comedy legal in the United States? And of course, that's not what I meant at all, because free speech goes both ways, and apparently these people don't understand that. Free speech is not a complete protection of every single thing you have to say. It is a complete protection of everything you have to say by the government. The government cannot come in and tell you you can't say something unless it is, of course, a threat to a government official, a threat just to anybody, basically, on somebody's life, a threat to property, right? You cannot say that, but basically anything else is fair game, including jokes. The government cannot come after you about jokes, at least in the United States. In a lot of European countries, people are in fact getting arrested for making jokes, but a lot of the Europeans in my comment section don't think that's true, or at least they think it's happening in the United States as well. I digress. While free speech does protect you from the government coming in and saying, hey, you can't say that, you can't make that joke, that was a bad joke about Trump, or that was a bad joke about whatever it might be, I am a private citizen and I can say whatever I want about your joke, okay? It does not matter what you think about what I have to say, just as much as it doesn't matter what I think you have to say. At least from a legal perspective, we can have a moral discussion all day about what should be more taboo and what shouldn't be taboo, but again, I digress. It really doesn't matter in this situation. Now, I can see it from these people's point of view. I can see how they might think that, oh, I was saying Destiny should not be able to say this. And that's because they didn't watch the whole video, because at the end of the video, I clearly say Destiny should be completely allowed to say this. However, most of them just didn't get there because they were too busy writing a comment versus listening to what I have to say first. So I thought it'd be fun in this video to take a look at some of these fairly odd comments and sort of respond to them. Basically, most of them boil down to whataboutism. Basically, well, what about this? The conservatives did this. That's what most of these comments boil down to, and I will be skipping over a lot of them because most of them are just repeats of the same exact comment. And just to make things clear before we start, I am not a conservative. I am a Mises Caucus libertarian. Conservatives are statists, and statists are bad. Anyway, let's get right into it. All right, let's look at this first comment. Destiny is using his freedom of speech to joke about how apropos the flooding in Texas is, given that it is Republicans that defunded agencies that could have predicted and prevented the situation. The same people that tend to deny climate change, all while saying thoughts and prayers as usual. Republicans have been making far worse jokes all the time when it happens to a blue state or any leftists. Hell, Republicans just laugh at the deaths of leftists and call it a joke. Destiny is actually making fun of real-world actions, which, yes, caused the death of kids by bloody Republican hands. Yes, Destiny was in fact using his freedom of speech, and so was I. But slipping one past that, because we'll have plenty of time to talk about that with these other comments we'll look at, I just wanted to address the fact that he says Republicans laugh at the debt of leftists. Yes, they are laughing at debt that those people probably got into for their liberal arts degree that doesn't have a clear route to a job out of college. Unless you are referring to something that I am unaware of that was some sort of like big scandal or something. I don't know. Correct me in the comments down below if he's talking about something else. But comparing people in debt to children dying seems like quite a jump, right? I know it was a joke. I never said it wasn't a joke. Destiny obviously was making a joke. It just wasn't a very funny one, in my personal opinion. Now, comedy is subjective, and if you found this joke funny, good for you. I'm not going to hold it against you. But if you found it funny for these reasons, I think you're just somewhat ignorant. Or not so much ignorant as much as interpreting it in bad faith, interpreting every single thing that Republicans do as Republicans are just evil, they're money hungry. No, okay? It's the same as how a lot of Republicans think that gay people on the left are trying to make every single person gay. And while some are, a lot of them aren't. Most of them aren't. Most of them just want to chill and be gay, and it's cool, right? But the small little minority of bad actors are the ones that get publicized. That is the same exact thing here. And I understand using politicians to sort of generalize an entire group of people. Trust me, I completely understand that. Just like how a lot of people misinterpret libertarians because libertarian politicians are the ones getting out there, right? And the libertarian politicians a lot of times don't even actually understand libertarianism. This is the same thing with Republicans and Democrats, right? The conservative politicians go out there and they spew some nonsense, and then a lot of the actual conservatives are like, what? No, that's not what I believe. Did I really elect you? And on the other side too, a lot of Democrats will go out there and do the exact same thing. People don't understand the other sides of arguments, right? They don't look for the other side of arguments because they just want somebody to be mad at. And this is, of course, a fallacy known as a hasty generalization. And there was also another fallacy in here called tu quoque, also known as appeal to hypocrisy, basically meaning, oh, well, you did something wrong, therefore it's okay when I do the same thing that's wrong. And of course, this doesn't even make sense when he's attacking me because he thinks I'm a conservative and therefore I would support what the conservatives were saying. When of course I'm not, because he doesn't know me, he doesn't actually look at what my points are, he just gets mad. I guess the joke's on me for trying to act unpartisan for once. Alright, so let's move on to the next comment. I love how slop this is. I thought jokes were legal again now that the Republicans are in office. It's like, it's okay to joke about trans kids, ICE deporting immigrants, etc., but the second you joke about a group that you are personally fond of, it's bad. Also, NordVPN wasn't even sponsoring Destiny. Once again, not even a bad faith interpretation, a complete misrepresentation of what I said. Yes, you can joke about whatever you want without legal repercussions. However, the second you put something on the internet, I can also talk about it without any legal repercussions. As long as you are not inciting violence or threatening somebody, you can say whatever you want. And of course, here again, we have another appeal to hypocrisy. They did it, so why can't I? Pushing this fallacy to its logical conclusions, I could say, well, a Republican killed a Democrat leader, therefore it's okay for a Democrat to kill a Republican leader. Moving on to the next comment, this one wasn't really a hate comment as much as somebody thinking they're giving me advice when they're completely wrong. It's called comedy. If edgy jokes are off limits, then just say so. People can't take jokes. That said, I'm liking the video and commenting, and I hope this hits the algorithm. Cheers. No, edgy jokes aren't off limits, and of course I don't think that edgy jokes should be banned or anything like that, as I've stated several times in this video. These comments are really just parodying the same exact talking points over and over and over again. They really don't have any original thought to them. So let's have a look at one last comment, and in my opinion, this one was probably the most annoying of them all. He is absolutely joking. Conservatives just have such a lack of empathetic ability to understand the families being ripped apart and the mental strain of society hating you for being trans. You gotta bring it down to little girls drowning, and then all of a sudden, conservatives are the good, empathetic people the whole time. I think comparing the struggles of somebody being transgender to children dying is just such a ridiculous comparison. It's two things that are just so far apart in how bad they are that it's like impossible to really compare them. However, that's not my main gripe with this comment because we've already gone over this in a different comment. He says, you gotta bring it down to little girls drowning. No, Destiny brought it down to little girls drowning, brought it down to these children dying, all right? I didn't do that. Conservatives didn't do this in order to make themselves look better either. It was you guys that brought it down to this level in order to be a contrarian edgelord. And by you guys, I of course mean Stephen Bonnell II. Anyway, guys, I think that's really going to wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.